Hello and welcome to Copper Bulletins. Mikey is back, but you're not on camera. You're just hearing voice only. Say hi, Mikey.
Hello.
Good to have you back, Mikey. So,
Thank you.
first, first thing in chronological order, and the first thing we've spotted this week is that the Warning are taking a very well-earned holiday. Bless them.
Yes.
They've been working incredibly hard over the last however many months.
Yeah, it is a very well-deserved break.
Yes.
I don't know how long the break's gonna be before they go back to work. I hope they enjoy it.
Well,
Can't
I mean,
wait for them to release music because we all
yes.
know what's Friday.
Yes. I mean, we've seen. I mean, I just remember seeing some of the pictures on Instagram where, I mean, we know they've been working really hard just promoting the album, so many interviews, but all of the stuff that's been going out from the merch site when it reopened as well. And I'm assuming Kickstarter and Patreon rewards. Um, the amount of stuff they must have had to post out and package up is insane.
Yes, I don't want to imagine the amount of boxes that they had to mail out.
Yeah, I remember. So I did see one picture on an Instagram story, and it's like that's a lot of stuff. And
Yes, like a
and it's
warehouse.
still very much they're doing it in house at the moment. It's not like there's like a warehouse full of minions doing this for them. It's all very much, I think, still a family affair. Maybe Rudy licking some stamps as well. I don't know.
I now just imagine a picture of Rudy on the stamp.
That'd be a good stamp. I
Can
quite
we
like
get
that.
Rudy
Yeah,
stamps?
I
Can we
think
make that a thing?
I think he deserves to be on a stamp.
Rudy for
Uh,
president.
yes, definitely. And like you mentioned as well, as of we're recording this on the 21st. So, certainly, given how rubbish I am, by the time this is edited and uploaded, Evolve will be out.
Yes, it will. Love your confidence there. Yeah.
Obviously we've had that little snippet that they released when you get from the pre-save. I like that they just released the snippet quite early on rather than linking it directly to the pre-save link.
Yes. I don't know why I said yes. I got more to say after yes, but
Yeah,
yes.
I do wonder if maybe that's because they looked at how it performed last time and thought, you know what, it didn't really make a lot of difference not having it sort of gated. We might as well just have it out there.
Yeah, makes sense.
But from that snippet, it certainly sounds very different.
It does, which I like. I like how, I mean, this is based off one song and one
Yeah,
snippet, so, I don't know. But I like the idea of a diverse sounding album. Because Queen of the Murder Scene sounds diverse, but it all very much intertwines together since it's a story.
well,
I like I like the idea of like standalone songs.
and even Powell's admitted that she has a tendency to fall back on the same chord progressions, like always back onto that B minor chord.
Yeah, which again, it's not a bad thing. It's just
No,
a thing that they do.
yeah, and I know they said about Choke. They've said they don't feel it's necessarily the strongest song on the album. They feel there's other songs that are a lot stronger, but maybe that they felt that Choke was maybe one that was just more, I guess, felt a bit more sort of commercial or sort of radio friendly.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to say, well, if you don't think it's your best song, why would you not lead with that as a single? Why would you not pick
Well,
your best song? But
you also don't want to like release your best song too early, and then like
true,
everyone keeps your, like, oh, the entire album's gonna be this, and then like,
yeah,
I don't want to use the term filler, but you don't want, the album to come out and like all the stuff that you haven't heard or the stuff that you'd rate as the worst tracks on it.
no, definitely, and also your what you feel is your strongest song from a musical perspective, maybe the most interesting one, might not necessarily be something that is suited to say radio play and sort of the single
Yes.
market. But yeah, Evolve should be out now as of when this is finally up. So I'm keen to know what people think of it in the comments. So I remembered to mention the comments that time.
Yeah, you're starting to get good at this whole YouTube shtick.
I'm really not. There's one thing I wanted to talk about, and I know you want to talk about it as well. And we'll be diplomatic about it, but it baffles me. It really baffles me.
Please, everyone, be respectful in the comments.
And this stems from the other week. I would say I didn't watch his stream or anything.
I mean, let's be real. This stems for about a year now.
Well, true, yeah. Let's face it. It's been going on for a while, but it stemmed to a live stream that Liliac were doing, and apparently there was a question on there. Someone said, would you ever tour with The Warning? And the reply was, well, yes, but only if they were supporting us or something. And I said, I didn't watch it myself, and this kind of got turned, or there seemed to be an attempt to turn this into some weird sort of massive outrage, and just trying to manufacture some sort of animosity between the bands, or certainly between the fan bases. And I just don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, like, it's literally a group of adults going to war online over two groups of teenage sibling bands. It's, it makes no sense. No. Why are you wasting time and energy? Why are you just making... This goes for both fan bases. I'm not just...
Yeah, definitely.
I'm speaking from the perspective of someone in a Warning fan base. I don't know people in the Liliac fan base. There are toxic people in the Liliac fan base. I admit that. Yeah. But there's toxic people in this fan base. And even if you're not overall toxic, you can still do something toxic. And something toxic to do is really trying to start a war between two bands that are already unfairly compared to each other every time something happens, simply because they are related. They are different sounding bands.
Stop trying to manufacture beef. It
Yes.
doesn't need to happen.
Go work at a butcher if you want to do that. But it's like...
Leave the beef at Wendy's.
They probably don't use real beef.
No.
But
no one in the UK will know what that means.
But yeah, it's like everything they do, it's like, oh hey, they're sibling bands. This, look at Liliac, we're gonna compare them to Warning. It's like, why? They make different sounding music.
Yeah, again, that also confuses me, because I've seen that I've seen it sometimes on YouTube comments, on reactions, saying, oh, if you like family bands, check out The Warning, or vice versa, check out Liliac. It's like, what's a family band?
Yeah,
I don't care. Personally.
Just because they're family doesn't mean that it's like, oh hey, if you like one family band, you like another.
Yeah, the family aspect is incidental to me. It doesn't affect how much I enjoy the music of the band.
Yes.
And obviously, there's a certain thing that comes with that in terms of interviews and stuff like that, with the dynamic between them. Obviously, we see that with The Warning. I'm sure that happens with Liliac as well. So that aspect's fun, but it doesn't affect my enjoyment of the music.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here going, oh, Metallica are great, but if they all came from the same mother, they'd be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I suppose Kings of Leon as well. Are they all brothers, or there's like some? I don't know.
I forget. Aren't Greta Van Fleet also related?
Yeah. And again, it's that aspect of the band, those bands, isn't what's going to make me. Isn't a defining factor of the band for me.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a quality of like music. Like, there's like, it's not rock music, pop music, like rap, hip hop music, R&B music, and family band music.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the sort of this trying to start some sort of like flame war between the fan bases. I don't get that, especially because the age group, the age demographic for the Warning fan base certainly.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure it's skewed
presumably
older.
Liliac.
Yeah, I
Presumably
suppose
also
as well. Yeah,
Liliacs.
it's like
But it's like you're grown adults for the most part. Obviously, there are college kids and younger fans as well. But it's like a majority of it are adults. Why are you going to war with teenage girls that you just like the music of? And like, yeah, you like them as people, but if they're not personally offended by what someone said and they don't care and they don't, there's nothing between them, why are you trying to create something between them?
Yeah, you don't need to be offended on their behalf necessarily. And
yeah, and if you're offended that someone said that, okay, you don't need to make your personal offense that they think that they're really good into an actual war between them.
No, and again, you kind of expect this from like a bunch of 13-year-olds on Twitter getting all het up over whether Cristiano Ronaldo is better than Messi, that kind of thing, or like the BTS army getting all up in arms over stuff. Kind of don't expect it from sort of middle-aged blokes. It seems feel like we should all be a bit above that sort of thing, a bit more.
It's like no offense to people, but it feels very much like that preteen feeling of like, oh, I have these personal feelings, but I think the entire world really cares and really just all focus on me.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
The old angsty teenage years.
Yes. Yeah. That I just got out of.
Where you say that. So I am feeling these feelings that no one in the world has ever felt before or ever will again. Oh, no.
Yeah, and like these feelings, like everyone cares about them. Yeah. It's like, listen, friends I'm sure care, family I'm sure care, but if you ask some random person on the street, they're just gonna question who you are. They're not staring at you walking past them going, oh my god, what the hell?
Yeah. And I suppose as well, this kind of bleeds over into opportunities for bands and projects. It's like, if a band gets an opportunity, I don't think it's necessary every time that happens to say, well, why didn't the Warning get this opportunity?
Yes.
It's a big world. There's a lot of opportunities to go around. And probably more opportunities than there are the time to fulfill them all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why aren't the Warning doing Tonight shows? It's like, well, the Tonight shows have to approach them.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they approach Greta Van Fleet, don't get annoyed at Greta Van Fleet and get annoyed at the Warning aren't there. Be patient. Yeah. It'll happen.
There was the Dio tribute recently, which the Warning were a part of.
Oh, we're getting into this now.
And nothing was ever announced. And they were quiet on it. And yeah, it turned out that the band's involvement was Pow did
14 seconds. 14 seconds of awesomeness.
And Liliac did do a full song on that, actually, because we've kind of been on that subject. But it was like...
Yeah, it's people are just...
And again, people tried to make that into a big thing between the two bands.
Now, to be fair, I will say a lot of this was I seen people on Liliac's like, oh, Liliac got a full song, Warning got 14 seconds. Like, yeah, okay, that's crappy behavior. I am not siding with them, but I'm also not siding with the people in this fan base who are going, why did they get a full song and not the Warning? The Warning Rudy came out and said, we didn't feel like we had time to learn and do a Dio song, so that's what we contributed.
And with hindsight, it's like, actually, that's kind of obvious because it's not been a secret how busy they've been recently. It's like, where would they find the time to do that? And also, what else would it achieve for them?
Yeah, I can't
it's got no legs.
This charity event leading to this big blow up of the Warning.
Well,
And
and
again, it's a
also,
charity event. I get being annoyed that you spent money expecting one thing and not getting it.
yeah,
But it's a
that's
charity event. At least your money went to somewhere nice.
yeah, that's more on the organizer of the event. I don't think it was very well organized in terms of
It
there
felt
were
rushed. I
yeah,
felt like they rushed it, which okay.
and there were a lot of apparently there were a few other acts that advertised for it that didn't actually do much of anything or didn't perform. So I think maybe they had a lot of contributions and then they had to fit everything into a certain amount of time. So
I mean, technically, the band, I guess, could have said, "Hey, listen." I mean, granted, maybe it's just I don't want to say contractual thing of let's not spoil that it's only going to be 14 seconds because then people may not buy tickets to this.
yeah.
But
I think it
like,
was more a case of, yeah, absolutely, we'd love to be involved. Let us know what you want from us.
yeah.
We'll let you know what we can contribute. Cool.
But it's
You know,
like,
it's all for a good cause. So,
yeah, and it's like you said, Matthew Pinfield wanted to just get their name on the thing so that people
yeah.
would know them. It was a kind gesture to them.
He's actually been a really good advocate for them. He's been playing them on the radio, hasn't he?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yes. Plus
I
Joe Elliott now.
yes, I saw the Joe Elliott one as well. Well, I didn't see it because it's radio, so it's not visual; it's sound. But yeah, I saw about that, so I listened back to it, and yeah, it was nice. It's nice to have him call back to having played with them and you know, have them on the support slot. I didn't even know Joe Elliott had a radio show until that point. I have to admit.
I didn't. I mean, granted, I'm not in the UK.
No.
To be fair, I didn't know Matthew Pinfield had a radio show. I just knew him as the guy on Access TV shows.
Going back to this whole attempting to manufacture animosity between the bands, whether it's the Liat Greta Van Fleet or in the Warning, it's like I just don't get that. It doesn't achieve anything. It's a bad look all round if someone's
it's like you're crying over things you don't have control over, and you're crying on behalf of the band that are clearly just enjoying doing what they're doing and wait. It's like just like the other thing is everyone's being like, oh, this album's make or break. If this album doesn't blow up, it's over. It's like Ali's 16. They don't need to blow up and be the biggest band right now. She's a child. They're young. They have a lot of albums in the future.
Yeah.
Assuming everything everything's fine.
And let's face it, that they're so sort of just generally talented and motivated that I'm pretty sure whatever they decide, even if God forbid the whole music thing didn't work out, which I can't see it not. I mean, if they could turn their hand to pretty much anything, and they'd make a success of it. So
yeah, if this album isn't the best-selling rock album of the year, it's okay. It's okay. They're not as known as Foo Fighters yet.
It's going to be fine. And they've got that support slot coming up as well.
That wasn't even a plug. I just now remember that they were opening for Foo Fighters. That's a cool opportunity. Don't forget that. Oh, I should also point this out. Just because Lizzie Hale said that she wants the Warning, that she likes the idea of the Warning opening for her, doesn't mean the first tour she's going on, they'll open for her.
Yeah.
So Plush is opening for them, which is the South African band. I don't know them that well, but cool for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, when do you want the Warning to do these things?
Yeah,
they're busy.
There's plenty of time. There's going to be a lot more Lizzie Hale gigs in the future. And I'm sure that will happen at some point.
I'm sure the Warning don't plan on retiring when Ali's 17.
No.
They have opportunities.
And it's hard not to get impatient about this sort of thing, especially with so little having happened over the last year. Everyone's bottled up and ready to go.
The other thing is, I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. I think Foo Fighters is more well known, arguably, than Hailstorm and Evanescence.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They are opening for Foo Fighters. Now, granted, it's in Mexico, and I think a big thing is, why aren't they doing more English things? Why aren't they promoting in America better? Because there's a pandemic.
Yeah, only that as well. I think it's very easy to maybe especially from us being on the outside, to kind of actually sort of maybe dismiss their local market a bit because we're more focused on where we are.
Yeah, it's
But
like they're from Mexico. It
yeah,
feels like the obvious thing is for them to target Mexico first and
yeah,
then expand from there.
yeah, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. Build up a really strong core base closer to home. So and then, yeah, spread out from there. Don't try to spread yourself too thin too quickly. There's
Yeah,
obviously, if there's massive scope and opportunity there to get their name out and about and get them more well known in their home country, that makes perfect sense to do that first before worrying too much about the rest of the world. It's like, well, we
it
haven't finished with Mexico yet. We've still got more fans to find here. So, let's hoover
yeah,
them up.
it's like because it's this whole perspective, and it's an American thing, as an American speaking, that if it doesn't happen in America, it doesn't happen at all. Like
Yeah,
it's this perspective that we are the world.
we are the children. We are the ones who
Exactly,
make a brighter day. So let's not give in.
exactly. Um, and it's like, yeah, do I wish they blew up in America too? Yes. Do I wish it happened as quickly as possible? Yes. But you also have to have realistic expectations. And the realistic expectations is that they're not going to blow up overnight again like
No,
they did before. It's a gradual process.
no,
You
definitely.
grow album by album, project by project, performance by performance.
Yeah. And I've seen a few comments recently, like, why are so many of the interviews in Spanish? It's like, because there's a whole lot of Spanish
Mexico.
speaking. Yeah, there's a whole lot of radio stations and media outlets in Mexico that maybe haven't covered them and that want to. So let's get them done.
But yeah, overall, please stop compare. Please,
Yeah,
you can compare them like respect, like hey, like this is what I like about their music, this is what I like about their music. But
yeah.
like, don't
You
make it
could,
a war. Don't make
yeah.
like it's like ooh, my toy's better than your toy.
It really is, isn't it? Oh God.
It's like who
If
it's music is subjective. There are people
Yeah,
who will just like Liliac sound better than the warnings, and that's
yeah, and
okay.
that's cool. If you
Who
like something,
cares?
if you like something, then tell the world how much you like it. That's
Yes,
brilliant. You
I
don't have to tell the world how much you don't like something else to quantify how much you like the other thing.
I
You
was
don't need to drag
speaking.
something else down. It's not necessary.
You don't have to overcompensate your love for a
No,
band.
no. And just just from what the interactions we have with the warning in terms of like vlogs and or interviews, you know, I don't think that's how they would view it. They're not. No, they're not gonna ones are gonna say, see it as a competition. They're the kind who just be happy to see another band, especially another young band, similar age as themselves, going through similar challenges. They'd just be happy to see them
Yeah.
doing well.
It's like it's so good event fleet. They're label mates. Why are
Yeah,
you attacking people that they are now like colleagues of?
yeah. That doesn't make sense at all.
It's like I can understand being annoyed with Lava. I'm not even that person that annoyed with Lava. I think they're not doing badly,
No, that
it's like, oh, why aren't they getting the same opportunities as Greta Van Fleet? Because Greta Van Fleet's been signed longer.
yeah, and as well, I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff about people saying, "Oh, I have seen comments, a couple on TikTok as well, of people accusing Lava of holding the album hostage, which I just find hilarious.
We
Why a
signed these
Lava?
girls to ruin their
Yeah,
careers. We got them,
what?
boys.
Why
Yeah,
a Lava holding
no.
the album hostage? It's like
The warning
we're
agreed to delay it.
yeah, we're in a really weird time at the moment. In case people have forgotten, um, you know, pandemics,
You need to have
economic
everything.
uncertainty,
Everything is
travel
planned to
restrictions.
a T. There is
Yeah,
such intricate detail that goes into when we're gonna release it and
yeah,
all of these things. And also, it's just how things are now. They don't release full albums. So it's like single, single, single,
yeah.
single
The
album.
way,
It's just
yeah,
how it is.
it's all very well saying, "Oh, I like albums. I'm a traditionalist," and that's great if you are.
But the world isn't anymore.
Yeah, that's not how the industry works anymore.
Things change for the better or for the worse. Things change.
We're in the TikTok generation now, where music is
15 seconds long.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You look at the charts in the UK now, and like half the top 40 is TikTok songs. Because people have discovered them through a 15-second meme snippet, and then they've gone on to listen to the whole song. It's weird, but that's what we've got these days.
Exactly.
But certainly in terms of the album release, it's like, well, hang on. Normally, when you release an album, there's a tour that goes with it, and the two kind of work together. So the tour helps promote the album, and the album helps promote ticket sales. So they're
if there's
not
no tour, you're missing half the equation.
Yeah, and you only get to release your album once, and it costs money. It costs money, and you spend normally for a launch, you're going to spend a fair bit of money and time for promoting certain things and
on music videos.
Exactly, and you want that to get the best benefit from that, because you want to get the best out of your book. If you don't have a tour to feed off that, you're kind of wasting your money.
Yeah, and if you don't have a tour to bring in money, it's like people I think forget. Yeah, we love The Warning, whatever, and we always support them. You need to realize if Lava never released the record and they're quote unquote holding it hostage, they're losing money.
Yeah.
They made an investment in The Warning of we will help promote you, you will become successful, and we will make money. It is a collaboration. It is an agreement. It is symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
They need each other to be successful.
It's nobody's interest for this not to work.
Yes. It's like Lava gonna figure out a way that gives them the most exposure and brings them the most success, which would be aligning this album with some sort of tour or just something. And in return, Lava will make more money out of this.
Exactly. And
it's a business. It's a music business. It is not, I've said, oh, there's no reason that people can, you don't need to make wars between bands and other people. You don't need to make rivals that, we've seen, there's a lot of people in the music industry who like each other. It's why in pop music, everyone collaborates with each other,
But even without Lava, I don't think, even if the album was still fully independent, just off the Kickstarter, I still don't think it would have been released now. For the same reasons. They've been going, oh, we really want to get it out, so but we can't sort of, nail down tour dates yet. It's still too up in the air. As soon as we can nail down tour dates and we see things opening up, then we can figure out a date to launch the album. They'll feed off each other. And I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Everyone's sat looking, just waiting to push the button, but it's not the right time yet because it's all a bit too uncertain. And they don't want to waste a lot of money.
I've always said, this is a ride. It's a joyride with the band and all of us. Just enjoy it. You have no control over what happens. Nothing you say online will change anything. You can voice your opinion, fair play. Say whatever you feel you want to. But nothing you say will change what's happening. So just enjoy it.
Try not to worry too much about what time we're going to get there, and just remember to stop along the way and smell the flowers.
Exactly.
Or eat them if you're that way inclined, or if you're a cow. Right, this is going to look a bit weird again because we're doing the split thing. So we've got coming up after this a little chat with Thomas, a much loved member of the fan base, who's got some really unique stories to tell. I'm gutted you couldn't be in for that one, Mike. He said Derek was in for that. But I know we've wanted to have a chat with Thomas for quite a while, simply because he's one of the most interesting people in the fan base in terms of the stuff he's got to share with us. So that's going to be awesome. But it's going to look a little bit weird because Mikey's going to disappear and turn into
Derek's going to appear.
Thomas, fantastic to see you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I hope you're not driving.
I'm
Back
not.
in the
I'm not. I'm on autopilot, so the car's driving itself. No, I'm kidding. I'm in a parking lot. So
good, yeah, yeah. No, it's really really great to see you, Thomas. I've wanted to get you on for a chat for a while, to be honest, because I know you've got some amazing stories which you can share. But I think first off, we'll just do the little bit of background, as it were, in terms of sort of how did you come across the band? What was your sort of introduction?
yeah, yes, sure. So I came across the band like many of us did on YouTube, and I know the date only because I went back later and looked up my Google, my YouTube history. It was January 28th, 2017. So about 4.5 years ago.
Wow.
It was about 2 months. Of course, I came across the Enter Sandman video, like many of us. And I think I was just on there. I do like Metallica, so I think I was on there watching a Metallica video of some sort, and the Warnings video came up as a recommendation. And it's funny because I remember that when I saw the little thumbnail, I clicked on it, and the first few seconds kicked in, and I remember laughing out loud, and not because what they were doing was funny. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. Just like the visual of them being so young and
Yeah.
then playing so well, just the visual kind of like really messed with my head for a second. So I was laughing for a second, and then I went from laughing to amazement. So anyway, I it was about 2 months before 21st Century Blood came out. So I looked up what they had, and I listened to Escape the Mind, that album or EP, and I liked a few of the songs from there. And I thought, wow, they have a lot of potential. And I checked out some more of the covers. Um, and yeah, and I pre-ordered the 21st Century Blood, of course, online, and I got that, and I was hooked from then on. So here I am 4.5 years later. So
Still, yeah, I love the because I think certainly with the Enter Sandman video, if you didn't know what to expect and you came across that video, you do have an idea in your head about what it's going to sound like based on the fact that it's three rather small little girls about to play it,
yep.
and it's never and it doesn't match up with what it actually sounds like. It's like you thought this is going to be cute, they're going to give it a good go. No, they absolutely crush it.
Exactly.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
my reaction was pretty much the same as yours, Thomas. It was kind of like sort of burst out laughing. Not, like you said, just my brain just couldn't quite process what it was, because it was really good, and it was just kind of like, yeah, burst out laughing, and then it was kind of like, actually, they are really nailing this. Yeah, and that's same for me. That was me, fell down the rabbit hole. I
Along with
was
many
maybe a
others.
couple of years later than you on coming across them.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I'll just add quickly that when I did come across them, I really wasn't on social media at the time at all. I mean, obviously YouTube, but that there's not really too much interaction
No.
other than comments. So I really didn't talk to anyone. I didn't know of anyone else that, obviously I knew there were other fans, but I didn't really do any outreach because I really wasn't on social media. So I remember the only outreach I really did, and I did check recently, and it's still there on the Warnings website. There's actually a public comment
There is,
section.
yeah.
Have you guys seen this? Yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
it. I don't
So
know if it's in your comment, but I know it's
yeah,
there.
it's like the Wild Wild West. I mean, I don't know if the band looked at it back then. I mean, they probably don't look at it now, but maybe they looked at it back then. I don't know, but it's like this old school little chat box, and it's just unmonitored. Just free filter. Anyone can type anything, and they do. So I remember, just posting a couple things on there, and that was about it. Uh, and yeah, so that's my first interaction. I did eventually join Facebook, and because I was on Facebook, years ago, and I deleted the account, and I went kind of kicking and screaming back onto it, just because I would try to watch videos, and that when there would be like a live stream that Rudy would show, or
Yeah.
someone else would show, and I couldn't get on there. So eventually I got back on there and started interacting with fans. But early on, it was just kind of like I liked them, and it was sort of in a vacuum. So yeah.
I mean, I pretty much only started using Instagram to follow like say the lives and stuff, because I had an account there. I'd never used it. I don't take pictures of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of got forced into start using it.
Yeah, I mean that's what I use my Instagram. It's because of the warning. I do their things on Instagram.
You just use it on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I don't really post much there. It's there for watching Rudy's live streams or the band's
And then,
live streams.
Danny Day, Pow Day, Ali Day. That's all it's for.
Ali Day, yeah.
Yep.
TikTok as well. We've got a TikTok
Yeah.
account just purely because they got TikTok accounts.
Dragon is all kicking and screaming into the 21st century, ironically.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's funny. One of the reasons I wanted to get you on, Thomas, which is it's nothing to do with the band. It's like, up until now, I had no idea what your voice sounded like. But you always looked like you'd have an English accent, and I don't know why. I think you probably look vaguely like someone I've met in the past. So I needed to sort of reconcile that and get it out of my head.
Well, I won't subject you to my fake British accent. That's not good.
No,
that wouldn't be.
No. We've only just sorted out the whole tea thing. We don't need to start another ruckus over stuff.
Exactly.
So I know obviously you play the bass yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't. And I obviously, me and Derek, we know the story, but I don't know if everyone does. I've seen it written down, but looking forward to sort of hearing it in your own words. Obviously, you were the person who introduced Ale to Spectre. How did that come about? Was that like a whim? It's like one day it's like I've got an idea here, or was there a bit of backwards and forwards on that?
Yeah. It was kind of interesting how it came about. I just I followed them from like I said around January or so of 2017, and then into the fall of that year. I noticed that in watching the videos around that September-October timeframe, Ale was around 12 then. And I know she was getting taller, and she kept growing, and
still is.
Yeah, and still is, exactly.
no sign of stopping.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know if it's Moni's Green Shakes or what it is, but she continues to grow. But at the time, I thought, well, I love Spectre. I do play other brands, and I have played other brands of basses over the years. But it kind of was like the perfect time because I had what Ale's bass now, the Rachel Bowen, the Spectre, for Split Black Sparkle, and I thought, given Queen of the Murder Scene wasn't out yet, of course, but I just thought it was a cool looking bass and would fit someone, and not the stereotype, but I thought almost a teenage girl. Even though it's cool for myself as well as a late 40s man, I thought, hey, this would be kind of cool. And I'm not really doing anything with it. I actually did ask my older daughter, who was about 8 months younger than Ale. If she wanted it, and she wasn't playing bass at the time, and she wasn't really too into it. So I gave her the right of first refusal, and she said no. So then I reached out to Luis. Long story short, at the time he said that I think they were looking at potential sponsorship back then. So he said, thanks, but we're gonna pass. But he really was very appreciative and very nice. Not surprisingly, Luis is great.
No, of course, yeah.
So a couple emails back and forth in October of that year, and then so fast forward to around January, February. I guess it was around January of 2018. And I, of course, I'm still following them, everything else. And I saw a couple of videos that actually had me reach out to Luis again. They did a video with I forget the guy's name now. I don't even remember what band. I'm blanking. Do you remember the workshop they did with a bass player from a famous band? Not Slipknot, but one of those. He plays Spectre basses.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Do
you know, Derek? Because I don't.
That's what happens when you get old. So
can't remember. Tell me about it.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't John Moyer from Disturbed.
Thank you. It was John Moyer. Yeah, I was thinking of every band but
Disturbed.
Yes. Yeah. So in that video, well, a couple of things. Number one, I saw that he was playing Spectre, and number two, I noticed that Ale was still playing our Fender Mustang.
The Fender short scale.
Yeah, the short scale bass. So I thought, it's been 4 months or so. I'll just quickly ping Luis and see if any, what the deal is. And he said, oh, you know what? It's actually, I said, well, I still have the bass if you're interested. I know you mentioned something about a sponsorship, but hey, she could always just have this as an extra bass or put it under the bed or something, if she doesn't want to play it or whatever. So he said, oh, you know what? That's great because we're actually getting ready to go into the studio, so it'd be great to have some extra, textures or extra sounds that as we're going in there. So so I sent the bass down to to them, and along with the case and stuff, because I clearly I didn't want it to it's a long way from Philadelphia to Mexico. So so she did post the video. I wasn't on Patreon in the first couple of weeks, but he sent me the video of her playing it, and it was funny because about a few days after it arrived, he sent me the video, that short clip of her playing Dull Knives, because I said that was one of my favorite songs. I'd only heard it performed at the Whiskey when they did that video recording in January 2017 or 2018, but I loved it, and I said that was one of my favorite songs. So she did a little clip of it, and he said that she loved it and she likes it more than her Fenders now. So then she posted it on Patreon and all that stuff. So it was cool. I thought that's great. I'm glad she likes it, and I kind of left it at that for a little while there. And then so I know this is becoming a little bit of a longer story, but then a couple months later, they went into the studio. They went into Spear Studios, and Luis told me that they decided not to take the Spectre there. They were kind of going back and forth, but they knew they had these 2 shows coming up with the Killers. And honestly, I think really what the pretext was is that they had a Spectre there at Spear Studios, which is great. So Ali already immediately took the Spectre, so they had something for her to play. But more importantly, I think she really wanted to use her new Spectre at the gig, right? So so I didn't know this, but then I in watching the videos, I realized that she was playing the Spectre. So I was very happily surprised that she was playing it live at the Killer show. So that was the first time she played it. Yeah.
And of course, as well, for that show, and definitely for one of the nights at least, they'd gone with a kind of silver theme for their outfits as well. So I guess the sparkle finish on the bass fit really well with that.
It did.
From a look point of view.
Yeah, I don't know if one influenced the other or what happened there, but it was definitely a cool look. Yeah. So yeah, that was just to wrap it up with Spectre. That was the first. That was the first one, and then I kind of felt like, well, that I was going to leave it at that, but I thought, you know what?
People break strings.
People break strings. She has the Fender as a backup, but it's a short scale. So I was thinking, okay, if she needs a backup, and I know even back then with 21st Century Blood, there were songs already with different tunings. And at the time when she just had the one bass, she would just tune back and forth. And I thought, well, basses are kind of like potato chips. You need more than one, and it made sense to have another one in the same configuration, right? They're like guitars, basses, etc. So I didn't own the white one, but I ordered it and sent it down. And then she had the white one I thought as a backup, but she liked that as well, and just ended up switching back. Some of the shows she would play the white one, she would just take that out, and then especially if it was a short set, another time she would take the black one. So that's kind of how it went down. And then one last thing that occurred right around that time too, in the spring of 2018, is I reached out to PJ Rubal, who was at the time the vice president of Spectre. No, I don't have any special in with him. It's just that I had exchanged a few emails over the years, really just asking about different configurations of Spectre basses, and I was contemplating orders a couple times. So he knew who I was, but we didn't really know each other that well. I'd never met him or anything, but he seemed like a very nice guy. And I thought, you know what? Ali and the band are great. They're going to break big. I think she really needs to at least get on the page of sponsored artists. So I just sent him an email, and he said, you know what? Obviously she still is a minor. She was, only 12 or 13 back then. And he said, you know what? Just I reached out to him and I said, I gave the background, and I just said, she recently acquired a couple Spectres. And he said, oh, well, just have her dad reach out to me and I'll get the ball rolling. This is even before I really knew who Rudy was. I didn't really know that they had other management besides Luis, So so they long story short, they did that outreach, and she was added to the Spectre roster. So really it was just an initial email. Honestly, it's all LA's talent and the band's talent that got them where they are. It's just a little nudge and an email. And so
I love that because I didn't know that you'd had
Yeah,
a little hand in that part. So that's really
no,
cool.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it was cool. I have to say, sometimes I had to pinch myself just for the fact that that the band really has gone so far, over the years, and just to see kind of where they were even just a few years ago compared to where they are now, and
Yeah.
Ali's career trajectory along with the rest of the band. And I'm thinking, obviously it's a band, but just thinking on a personal level, with each of them really, but with Ali, with Spectre, and you going from having a little mention along with a lot, like 100 other bass players, to being on the front page of the artist section, right at the top, along with was it Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse and Ian Hill from Judas Priest. That's pretty good company.
Wow.
So sorry, Dark.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I was just agreeing. Yeah, it's those. She's right up there with the big names from big bands now. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is, and and I would say I'm proud of what they've been able to accomplish. It's sometimes I feel like a just like a proud uncle or something. I think they have millions of aunties and uncles out there that are proud of them.
Yes, definitely. How did
definitely.
you feel when the signature bass got announced?
Yeah, that was very exciting. That was really cool. I knew that it was in the works. Luis did share a bit of that information, and I was very happy that she was able to get that. It was just unreal. Again, another example of someone so young, and obviously her talent belies her age, but how many other guitarists or bassists, for that matter, can say that they have a signature instrument at age 16?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that is testament to the effort and they put in, and the whole ethos of how they approach what they do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I was thinking that myself.
They put the graft in, they get the results.
Yeah, I was thinking of I couldn't think of any artists. Certainly, I was thinking more on guitarists. I couldn't think of any that had a signature model that young.
Yeah, it is pretty unusual. I mean, if we scour the interwebs, we might find one or two, but in the bass player world, I can't think of any for sure. There is one or two Spectre artists that are around her age, or maybe even slightly younger. But as far as a signature instrument, yeah, it's really unheard of at age 16.
So, do you like you gonna pick yourself one up? Maybe you'll get gifted one. Who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely on my list. I'll be certainly placing an order for that one when it's announced. Yeah, I was thinking of almost like a Hard Rock Cafe box. Maybe if I have a little music room in my basement, so and we just had our walls painted, so I was putting up some stuff the other day, and I haven't gotten the warning stuff up yet, but I'm gonna have a whole wall dedicated to the warning. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just get like a one of those boxes, but of course it'll be one where I could open it and actually take the bass out and play it. But when I'm done, I'll just pop it into the box. So it kind of be a nice visual with the light, just set it up, kind of just like a little display. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's really. I didn't know you had a hand in LA becoming the signature artist. So that's another feather in the cap for you there. Another little thing to be proud of. You can go, I helped with that.
Yeah,
I know exactly. Yeah,
it was cool. I mean, it was a very small part, but at least got the introductions made, and they took it from there. But
and there's one thing I really want to talk about because you and I think I saw this video before I joined Patreon or anything as well, and you are one of the few people who've been fortunate enough to actually play with the band in the cave, and you were very clever about it as well, which I really like. I admire your resourcefulness on that as well. If you want, but I'll let you tell the story because obviously it's your story.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Mark. So yeah, that was kind of cool, and it was interesting how that happened. Just a really small backstory there is so that was I have dates for everything. That's just the way my brain works. So this was June of 2019, and I knew that they were playing a couple shows you know, what was it, potatoes on wheels, and there was another one that for Odidi, of course. But the timing of it was that both of those shows were occurring on nights when, so at the time, both of my daughters and my wife were dancing. They were in dance class, and they had performances on both of those nights, that Friday and Saturday. So I had already pretty much discounted the fact that, I mean, I just, you know, look, I'm not going to be able to make those shows. I really wanted to go because it was 2 shows in a row, and, you know, it'd be cool to go back down there. I'd been there, you know, Lunario in late 2018. That's when I first met the band. And also, I really wanted to, you know, and I had been to the Whiskey at early 2019. So I really wanted to go back down to Mexico, meet up with some of the people I had met, you know, down in Lunario. But long story short is I wasn't able to go because of the, you know, family engagement. So that's when I learned that they were doing the cave appearance, and that you know, I was they were very kind and extended me an invitation. So on the fly, I decided to, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to go just for that, which, you know, to me was a no-brainer. I'm like, oh, look, if I get to go hang out with them again, hang out with the, you know, few of my fellow fans, and actually visit them in the cave, you know, I'll fly down to Monterey. Why not? So I had to get up at, like, you know, an ungodly time of the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning, to make the flight. Quick story here, and I've shared this with a few of my friends. Well, of course, the people there knew what happened, but so I flew from Philadelphia to Fort Worth, Texas, which is right next. It's like Dallas Fort Worth, that airport. So I made that flight, no problem. But then there was a little bit of a layover, and then I would be getting on another plane there to fly to Monterey. Well, when I got to Dallas Fort Worth, I walked up to my gate where I'm supposed to wait for the plane from Monterey, and they said, oh, you know, this plane hasn't, it just pulled up. It hasn't, or no, I'm sorry, it hasn't even pulled up yet. And they said, well, when it does pull up, they're going to have to offload everyone and clean the plane. So it's going to be a little while. So, okay. So I went and got breakfast. I came back. The plane was there, but they hadn't even let anyone off the plane. So I'm like, okay, I'm sure I have some time. Well, I went and, you know, went around the airport a bit. I came back, and the plane was gone. I missed my flight. So you can imagine, yeah, that's pretty much the expression you guys just made. That was me, but I was like, you know, proverbially on my knees with my hands up in the air. So I think they could tell how distraught I was. But you know, they weren't really being very helpful at the time. But I did look over at the next gate after a couple minutes of shock, and I saw that there was another flight to Monterey. So, and the same airline. So I said, you know, can I switch? So they took pity on me, and they didn't even charge me for it. So I ended up getting on the next flight. But that, of course, put me pretty behind. So by the time and of course, I was texting with, you know, Luis and Steve Benson, who was down there, and all that to coordinate. So they were really cool about it. But of course, they only had a set amount of time for this you know, the meet and greet and for them to play. So by the time I got down to Monterey, got the taxi over to their house and got in, they were originally going to play and then do a little, you know, meet and greet in their little lounge area outside of where they practiced. But because I was late, they flipped it, and they did the little meet and greet first, and then they did so when I got there, they were in the middle of their first song. They were playing Unmendable when I got there, so I really only missed like a half a song. And then they were so nice, they did it again because I missed part of it. So just goes to show how nice they are to work with me, you know. So then as far as playing, I figured there might be a possibility that maybe myself and/or Matthew might be able to get a chance. I didn't know if there was anyone else that played down there, but that played an instrument. But so it's funny. They had played a few songs, and they took a slight break, but they weren't done yet. They only played maybe 3 or 4 songs, and I pulled Luis aside, and I said, hey, you know, I'm certainly not going to pressure you. I'm just going to ask you versus asking the girls. I said, you know, is it cool if I play a song maybe? And he said, you know, you ruined all the surprises, Thomas. We were going to have you and Matthew play anyway with them. So sure enough, I walked back into the room, and they're talking to Matthew about it. So so he went up first, and he can brag and say that he was first to jam with them. He did Copper Bullets, which was really cool.
That's an incredible video. Just the power performance alone.
Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Between Pal with the pew pews and all the sound effects, and then Matthew, and poor Matthew, he's maybe an inch shorter than I am. He's close to my height, you know, almost probably a couple inches short of 6 feet. And he's on Pal's kit, and he didn't make any adjustments, I don't think. You know, his knees are almost up to his chin, and he's playing on her kit, but he did a great job.
There's one.
So that was really.
There's one really nice touch in Matthew's video, which I picked up on watching it, is fairly near the beginning. You know, Pow's singing, and then she realizes she's blocking him because it's being filmed. She realizes she's blocking him from the camera, and she moves off to the side. There's like, that's such self-awareness, and you know, and obviously being aware that, oh no, can't see Matthew, move out of the way. Very, very selfless, and just sums him up. I think that kind of.
Oh
being
yeah,
aware
that's
of
really
people.
cool. I'll have to watch that again. I didn't notice that. That's really cool.
Anyway, carry on.
Oh yeah, sure. So then of course, you know, it was my turn next, and you know, I have to say I you know, certainly nothing major, but I've been playing bass since I was a kid, since I was a teen. Played in many local bands. Never really got too far, but I did play a lot of the local clubs. So I have plenty of experience playing with other musicians, playing on stage. But I don't know that I was ever as nervous as I was right before I went up to play with them. And of course, it's like, you know, seven or eight of us, you know, off to the side, and then the girls and Louise, Simone, and Rudy. But I was pretty nervous at first. So they asked me, you know, what songs I knew, and I said, well, I can do. I knew several, but as far as what I was really comfortable with, I said I could do Hunter, 21st Century Blood, or Dust to Dust. And of course I said that knowing that I knew that Alec knew had sung a Hunter before, so I was hoping, you know, maybe she could get in on it and play and sing as well.
That way you get to play with the whole band.
Yeah, and it's funny because Alec didn't say a word when I said the 3 songs, but then immediately Pal and Danny said, "Oh, well, let's do Hunter," and then everyone looks at Alec and she freezes like, "Oh crap," you know. And she's like, "No, you can see in the video. Well, actually, no, you can't see in the video, but on the version I have, there's a little bit before we start." And she's like, "No," and she's saying stuff in Spanish, and her mom's her mom and Danny and Power are trying to convince her. They're like, "Come on, you know." I mean, it wasn't that long, but she was a reluctant participant. Let's put it that way. I think she just wanted to, you know, she really didn't want to sing. But anyway, we got her to do it. So it was really, really cool. It was, you know, I was kind of, you know, sitting there having to pinch myself proverbially because I was just, it was sort of like an out of body experience. Like, I can't believe I'm actually sitting here. And then one thought that came to mind was, if I had told myself, my past self 5 years prior, hey, you know what, in June of 2019, you're going to fly down to Mexico by yourself to play with three teenage girls and their family and some fans. And it just, you know, the whole scenario just kind of blew me away. So yeah, it was great. You know, they were really, really cool. And it was just an amazing experience. I would, and I've said this before, that you know, I think it was one of the best musical experiences I've ever had, just because, you know, I really admire them and you know, frankly, look up to them as musicians and songwriters. And yeah, it was just a great moment. It was really cool. And then I think I you know, afterwards, you know, it's funny because I think it was Danny said, "Oh," or Power Danny said, "Oh, you know, if I closed my eyes, I couldn't tell the difference." They were being a little too kind, I think. You could definitely tell the difference, and then certainly when you would open your eyes, you would tell the difference right away. You know, that would be very apparent. But that was very nice. And then afterwards, oh no, I forget the guy's name. That played guitar on Survive, and
that was Nestor, wasn't it?
Nestor, thank you, Nestor. Yeah, very cool guy. He's known the band for a while and does, I don't know if he still does, but he had done some you know, some work with them, like merch and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, you know, I knew he played guitar. I'm like, oh, Nestor, why don't you play a song? And I don't know if I overstepped, but they were kind enough, and they because I, you know, it was you know, I kind of just blurted it out, didn't really think about it. So they did a great cover of Survive. So and then Gilberto went up and jammed a little bit with them. So it was really cool. They're such nice people, just unbelievably kind. And you know, they didn't have to do that, of course. They could have just been like, well, we're just going to play our set. You're here. That's enough, you know, which certainly would have been. But it was sort of like icing on the cake. Yeah,
and I can imagine that's the kind of experience that, as time goes on, that's just going to sort of mature nicely. Because, like, say 10 years time, you could be there. maybe they're up there accepting a Grammy or something, and you think, I played with them, I jammed with them, and yeah, that's such a cool memory to have.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. I mean, that's a really cool experience and memory to have, is being able to play with them in the cave.
Yeah, it's something I'll always remember for sure. I'll be telling my grandkids, I'll be in my dotage at the nursing home, that's all I got. Anyone who would pass by and listen, So
again, in that video, there's that one bit where Ali forgets the words to the second verse, and you can see her buffering. She shuts down, and she's just like, it's deer in headlights, and then Danny's looking at her going,
yeah,
and she gets it just in time, and she's like,
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I didn't really notice it at the time.
Well, you were probably just concentrating on playing.
Yes, I was very much concentrating on trying not to mess up. And it's funny because Rudy did. I'm blaming it on Rudy, and he actually copped to it. But he did a bit of a close up during one part of the song, and I did flub a note because I just, I was hamming it up a little bit, and I just, I didn't wasn't paying attention. I hit a bad note. But the one other funny thing is that I started getting a little bit overzealous during the bridge part when it kicked back in, and I started jumping up and down a little bit. And I quickly realized, A, I need to really concentrate on this part so I don't mess it up, and B, I'm not 25 anymore, so I need to calm down. But Danny started jumping along too when I did, and her headphones fell off. So she had her headphones on because her in-ear monitor broke at either 4DD or Potatoes and Wheels. So she didn't have her in-ears for the cave cave performance. So yeah.
Like I said, obviously I'm not sure how high the ceiling is in there, but I know I wouldn't have thought you've got a lot of space for jumping up and down there. Certainly compared to the girls.
A little bit, but I was probably getting a little close.
Yeah.
That certainly wouldn't have ended well if I hit the ceiling and knocked myself out. Probably wouldn't have been a good. Would have been entertaining for everyone else, but.
Yeah, but I know that both those videos they're floating around YouTube. They're well worth watching. Just say for the little thing, Ali's deer in headlights moment on your video, and just Pow's entire sort of interpretive dance performance of Copper Bullets on Matthew's video, which is just and I remember it's Ali just sort of looks at us like, "What are you doing?" and Danny just cracks up completely. And
that was really fun.
And poor Matthew's just trying to concentrate on playing and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is Pow when she gets a chance to get out from behind the drums and let loose, and she just goes wild. It's quite funny to watch.
Yeah, that was a little precursor to what we saw with the, it was the Argentinian tour when they did the Nirvana song, and she's jumping. That's when it was, right, when she's jumping around at the.
Yeah, doing reads with.
I think that was the last night of the tour, wasn't it? And also
exactly
the Moderato show as well.
Oh right, that's right. I forgot that she got up for that too.
She got unleashed there as well.
Yeah, she's letting out her little, like inner front person on those occasions. So,
yeah.
Editing Mark here. Turned out that the Thomas section is really, really long, and there's still probably another half hour of it. So rather than make this podcast really unwieldy, I'll roll that over to a part 2. So that will be on the next podcast. I'm saying you didn't obviously see that because we've come back to you, Mikey. That was a chat with Thomas before, which was awesome.
Wow,
fantastic to hear. You haven't seen it. Stop pretending. But I knew bits about those stories before, but I hadn't heard them. I'd seen them in typed up. I hadn't heard them in person, so it was really cool to hear them. And like I said in that, I was really intrigued as to what Thomas's voice sounded like because he always looked like he would sound English. And I knew he wasn't, but I just couldn't get that out of my head. And also maybe a little bit like Brad Friedel. But I was really, really made up with that chat. Really, really appreciate. Yeah, really appreciated Thomas taking the time. Sat in his car of all places to have that chat with us, which was really good.
What a man!
Yeah, legend. And then we've had our little vent about, which wasn't really that bad. It was just like
it wasn't.
No. The outtakes, on the other hand. But yeah, let's be sensible about things. Let's not go over dramatic because we're not kids. Even the younger members of the fan base, it's like we can chill.
Hi, I'm one of them.
But yeah, that was awesome. And it's like by the time you're watching this, Evolve should be out. So please let us know what you thought of it.
Like, comment, subscribe, click the bell for the notification.
Back with another banger or whatever people say. It's your boy Mikey.
It's your boy Mikey.
Yeah.
Check out my Discord server. It's really great. I promise.
Yeah, all the links still at the bottom, so people can come hang out for that.
Check out the Warning if you haven't heard of them. They're really good.
Yeah, they're great. You may not have heard of them, but I'll be confused if you hadn't, if you'd managed to make it to the end of this. And it's like,
give Dread Event Fleet and Liliac a shot. If you don't like them, it's fine. Just don't savagely tear them apart on online forums.
Love who you love. You don't need to hate someone else to love.
The world needs more love.
I think that's a really good note to end on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we're ending on the great note of don't tell someone they suck.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good message. Just in general, you don't need to go if you don't like someone. You don't need to tell them. You just don't need to follow them because
if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say that at all.
Yeah,
remember what your mama taught you.
Definitely, and we will see you on the next one. Say goodbye, Mikey.
Bye.